Good morning, Lagos. Just last week, I started a topic I called Identifying and Managing Stakeholders. And this was premised on the whole idea to establish the fact that it is not always what you know, but who you know. You must understand that for anyone to be successful, you must identify who your stakeholders are, engage and manage them appropriately. You must locate influence in every sphere of your endeavor and plan how to get those stakeholders, those people, to get them into your network. Now, how to get them into your network, it's part of the strategy. Sometimes it only takes your good effort and open disposition to make that happen. If you are part of the employed audience, today you're working for a company, you're working either in the public sector, private sector, or you own your own company. Your internal stakeholders will naturally be your colleagues who are in other functions. And you must understand something, that they are very critical to your growth, to your success, and to the development of the company or organization you work for. That is my job. So they tend to focus on just that little circle. And they're working in an organization where they have sales and marketing people. They have production or manufacturing people. They have people in distribution. They don't care or even want to understand where these guys are in the organization. It doesn't work that way. Now, many of us get promoted and think it is by our smartness or work. We always forget it was made possible by a collaboration of other stakeholders. So internal stakeholders are very key. External stakeholders could be the community where you do your business, your immediate community where you manufacture. How are you taking care of them? Do you hire people from that community? Do you do some form of social responsibility? And at the same time, do you understand that your suppliers, your customer reps, including the government and regulatory agencies, are all your stakeholders? Many of us sit down in the branch office and you work for a multinational, assuming your headquarters is in Paris. Do you know anybody at the headquarters? Can you identify one name who you both share? I'm talking about a person of influence that could actually vouch or speak about you at the headquarters. If you work at a branch, let me tell you, the answers at the branch will keep you at the branch. The guys that work at the headquarters are closer to the seat of influence. They are closer to the men that decide your fate. In your definition, a little mind just sitting in a little silo in a little office, and every year you get increment of 10%. Say you have 15 years experience. Sorry, for me, all of that is 1 year. It's just one bulk experience as a payroll clerk. But if you're a manager who understands and has a vision to become the finance director, the sales director, the marketing director, or even the managing director, that becomes your destination. And then what do you do? Today I'm just a marketing manager. Who are those people I need, both internal and external, to support me, to get me to that point as a stakeholder? And don't forget, you have your external associations, whether it's ICANN, whether it's Advertisers Association of Nigeria, whether you have the chartered accountants or PR consultants or HR, CPM, and what have you. All of those associations are part of what we are going to term as your network. The first thing you must understand is that social capital brings all of this together. It's the place that bridges shared values and understandings within the context or even the society. Very many of us think social media is what gives you social capital. The answer is not. But what are the things I need to look at to build social capital? I'm going to give you the concept of the 3 B's. The first B is bonding. The first B is bonding. And bonding here means building close relationships with a high degree of trust and commonality. Building close relationships with a high degree of what? Trust and commonality. One of the things that is in very short supply in our environment today is trust. We rarely trust each other. Trust does not exist or rarely exists. even from the foundational and fundamental aspect of life, which is the family. You find brother versus brother because there was no trust. Well, little wonder the first murder in the Bible was recorded between brothers. So you can understand how trust can be a fundamental piece. If you're able to seal it, and you seal and use bonding very well, what it will drive is efficiency and effectiveness. The second B is what I call bridging. Bridging, as in Bridging. Bridging happens especially with distant relationships. These are the ones that have the potential to have weak ties. And then with a propensity for low trust, but encourages real diversity. What am I saying? Here you are, you're working in the branch office, you don't know anybody in the head office. But someday you have a visitor from the head office who comes in and is one of the top presidents or vice presidents, and you find yourself in the lift or the elevator, and you're going up the elevator, and some of us go very shy and quiet. But at that point in time, just imagine for a second you were able to ask a question, to say to him, "Hi, Mr. Townsend, my name is Idy Enang. I work in marketing. I'd like to understand why you think consumer marketing requires deep insights versus customer marketing." And the man will say, just that conversation, which we call either the elevator pitch or the elevator speech, 2 minutes, you're able to bridge. Now that distant relationship has been bridged in just 1 second. You have the opportunity, but it takes you to be confident. But many of us use bridging when you're trying to, I have my partner overseas, I'm trusting God for that guy in the US. That's when we use bridging. It's not a bad idea, but you need to be sure that it's part of you getting to your end point, which is ultimately to tie the knotted lines, and I hope so. But bridging provides and produces transformation. The third one is brokering, and brokering involves connecting others across the network and building to deliver shared goals. Brokering is the simplest way to identify your stakeholders, because all it takes is an introduction. All it takes is a connector to come between you and the next person. If you have not read this book, I would like to recommend it to all of you. It's called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. When you read Tipping Point, you'll understand the role of connectors and what they do. So connectors can actually help you identify the stakeholders or create that connection you're looking for, because you know that you want to get to destination X. And in getting to destination X, you need XYZ influencers. Some of you think golf is elitist. Let me change your mindset. As elitist as you may think in your head, golf is a leveler. You can find yourself in any part of the world and you get on the golf course and you can find next minute you're playing with the President of the United States. You're playing with the Prime Minister of the country. You're playing with whoever you can think about. At that point in time, titles die. And what comes up is the game. For me, golf is a leveler. If you know that and you save towards it, go join a golf club. And then you'll be able to walk through those influencers because you're going somewhere. You need tunnel vision. And in getting you tunnel vision, you must understand the concept of networking. To some people, networking means simply meeting or calling someone new for what might be a one-off discussion or event. This is very limited. To some others, networking is only a trading relationship in which two parties seek to discover whether they have anything of mutual interest to really talk about. They either make some sort of exchange or quickly move on. This makes networking highly transactional. The point here is a lot of us get into transactional networking, much like buying and selling or negotiating. We do not see it from a strategic standpoint. But networking can actually be a major social and life skill to be used in both a business, organizational, and a personal setting. From my lens, there are two sets of networkers. The first set are people I call political networkers. These ones build relationships to fuel their ambitions and to gain power. Their relationships only don't make sense to other people, but really is some kind of psychopathic game that they are playing. They know what they are doing, they know where they are going, and that's why I call them political networkers. The second set of networkers are what I call intuitive networkers. They operate by intuition. They network by instincts and often feel happiest mixing with people following their basic interests. But you became tribesmen because of interest. Today, football, the EPL has created all kinds of tribesmen form out of that, and they become intuitive networkers, and it's basically because of interest. Now, are you a political or intuitive networker. If you are neither, then you are a long way to making your strategic goals happen. Successful network begins with planning. So if you're going to walk through networking, if you're going to walk through managing your stakeholders, identifying them first of all and managing them, you must understand that you need to plan. So the question is, what kind of network do I need to have? There are four. The first one is what I call the personal network. This is where you have friends and family. This is where a lot of us dwell in. Friends and family. It's natural. The second network is professional network. Here you have your associations, like I talked about ICANN, talked about CIPM, I talked about all of those. Those are your professional associations, your clients, your suppliers within the scope of what you do. The third part is the organizational network. That is within your organization or within your community. You are part of that network. And this is by teams, projects, and committees. The fourth one is the strategic network. This is about the political or inter-organizational space. Now, you need these four networks. If you are just 1/4, forget